Hey y'all, and welcome to my video guide to Darkest Hour, a Hearts of Iron game. Today we are going to get the basics of the game down, and that's pretty much about it. So, this is the main game screen, go to single player, and you have two scenarios. Now, I am not going to be following the tutorials here because quite frankly they don't exactly explain the game well enough. I will be following the manual which is available on Paradox Plaza, their forums. So we have, like I said, two scenarios, the Great War and the Road to Another War. Great War is obviously World War One. I would recommend you play as the UK in that as a starter game. I guess that'll be our introduction to warfare, but we will be going with the Road to Another War for today. So these are your major contenders in the war, the factions that played the biggest role. Believe it or not, Brazil and Argentina actually fought a bit during the period. So yeah, um, these aren't the only countries as you can play. You can right-click and get a list like this. I think we'll go with, I don't know, Portugal sounds good. Now that you've selected a nice little country for your first game, go to options and you'll get this. Difficulty, put it on easy, I guess. Right now, go with normal. AI aggressiveness, it's really a double-edged sword. If you put it on coward, then well, it'll be a coward, but if you put it on furious, it tends to advance too fast, and yeah, you could just encircle it really easily. Game speed is adjustable in game. I don't know why it was on extremely fast. Share countries. This is it's more or less part of multiplayer where two players or more can control the same country. Since this is single player, it obviously doesn't matter. Autosave, your choice. I personally don't use it. Use counters. Put this on for now. You'll thank me later. Democracy can start war? No. End date, use scenario. Full IC takeover off and tech team takeover off. These two are really optional. Once you get into the game, you might want to change them. But for now, we are going to go with that. Alright, so now we've loaded up and we have all of this jumbo. This one is just general briefing, so we will get that out of the way. This one is more important, and this one is greatly important. This one requires me to delve deeper into the game. For now, we are just going OK and get rid of that one. This one has a little bit of effect. See now, these tabs right here are your general tabs. You will use them for a whole bunch of actions. There's provinces, which you can view all the provinces that you have, what they're generating, and all that. Decisions, very big part of the game. As a country, you can enact different policies and events will happen, such as if you were Germany, you would you could avoid World War II by not demanding Danzig. Units, armies, land units, air forces, naval forces. These last two, which we don't have right now, is because, well, one, we're not in active combat, and we don't have any uses to any divisions to deploy from our force pool. So those two can't exactly show off. Right now we're just going to hit OK. Down here we have different map view modes. Right now I'm in terrain, and one thing I would advise you to do is go and hit this so that it shows the weather like that. This will be incredibly useful later on in the game when you are fighting. Back to map modes, you can see how everything's all little dots, all different colors and different dots and stuff over here. Mountain, hills, and plains, different provinces are represented by different colors. It's pretty basic. Political map mode, well, you can probably guess what that is. Weather map mode, incredibly useless since you have this on and self-explanatory. Economic map mode shows you stuff about like the industrial capacity and what the province is producing in terms of resources. Supply map mode, well, your supply efficiency for your forces, that'll be explained a bit later. Partisan efficiency is the revolt risk, how likely a revolt is going to happen inside one of your provinces. Regional map mode. This splits up the world into different regions. Right now, you might think, well, how is that going to be useful? This will be used a lot if you are playing particularly in the Pacific when you do need to do a lot of naval and air operations, because that's what you primarily use it for, to coordinate patrols and stuff. Area map mode, same thing as regional map mode, just different in just smaller areas. Diplomatic map mode, basically just shows what the country owns and what it considers to be its own land, such as Germany here wants these two provinces out of Poland and all of Austria. That I'm not going to explain into much detail for now. Victory points, what the game defines as you winning is determined by how many of these provinces you have inside your alliance and or nation, depending if you are or not in an alliance. So this one is, these are resource counters: energy, metal, rare materials, oil, supplies, and money. These three, energy, metal, and rare materials, are used to fuel your economy noted here, which is IC, or industrial capacity. Now, every 2 units of energy and 1 unit of metal and 5 units of rare materials are used to fuel 1 single unit of IC. So that's so every day, as long as these factories are working, it'll draw resources from your pools of supplies here. Oil and supplies, these two are mainly used to fuel and supply your vehicles, your tanks, and everything. Every military unit does use supplies. Fuel is obviously for, tanks and planes and stuff. Money is, it's technically worthless, but it's also worth something at the same time. If you don't need to trade, such as Germany, where you basically generate enough to be self-sufficient, you don't really need it. Manpower. Manpower is a measure of how many troops you can pretty much have. Manpower doesn't really increase and it doesn't really decrease. You typically have a set amount. I mean, yes, there are ways to generate more manpower by, say, enact partial mobilization, but keep in mind that you can technically only have a certain amount of units, simply because at one point every single male inside your country will be inside the army already. Nuclear bombs. Gee, I wonder what that is. Descent. Descent is a measure of how It's basically civil unrest. You don't want it. Transport capacity means uh, essentially how well you can supply your forces. So as long as you keep it under the cap, it's fine. And now we have 5 tabs: intelligence, technology, economic, diplomacy, and statistics. Intelligence is spy work, technology is obviously research, economy is production of goods, and the allocation of your industrial capacity. Diplomacy, self-explanatory, and statistics is just statistics. You can check up on pretty much everything. Okay, that's about it. Well, I'll see you guys later, and yeah, feel free to subscribe, and yeah.